Rogers TV is proud to support local producers and share local voices, ideas, and opinions. For more information, please visit our website.
Hey everybody, welcome back to KickBack. I am so excited to have you join us. I'm now joined by my good friend Heather. Heather, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem at all.
Heather, you're joining us today to be able to, you're sharing your personal story. I've known you for a number of years now, and I think maybe I've gotten bits and pieces of your story and what you've gone through in your life, your lived experience. You've navigated and overcome so much.
Yeah.
What is that for you? What does that feel like to be where you are now?
Honestly, it feels like, because I've been through certain things, it feels like I'm able to help other people through the things that they're struggling with.
Right.
A lot of people come to me for help. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions. And not only does the person struggling come to me, but their families as well, to maybe learn how to help those people who are struggling. So that's pretty cool.
Right, and what does that feel like for you to be able to be probably that person that you could have used early on in your life?
Well, I did have a lot of support. As I was going through my struggles, but I wish I would have had them way earlier than later.
Right.
So.
And now you've had addiction in your family,
Yep.
instability through school. Can you just share a little bit of your journey?
Yeah, of course. I feel as though I honestly cheated my whole way through elementary, high school, and college. I suffer with learning strategies. I have ADHD. Took me to really concentrate on speaking slowly. But with that, they didn't have diagnosis then as to what was struggling. I actually looked at my report cards the other day from kindergarten and grade 1 and grade 2. And it says, Heather will not sit still. Heather disrupts others. Heather has a hard time focusing. Like when you look back and see all that, you're like, there's the ADHD.
Right.
So that was a real struggle for me in elementary school. And I was popular, I was funny, and I got people to do my work for me. So I just got through.
Right, you adapted.
I adapted. I just figured out how to do it. Cheat the system, I guess. I don't know what you call that, but if I would have had the support that they have now, it would have been a lot easier for me to get through with an independent program.
Right.
Sure.
And now what kept you going through those years where you were navigating addiction?
What kept me going? Really, my family. My family, my mom, my kids. Like that's what kind of was my drive, my push.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I cheated my way into my elementary, or in my treatment center as well, because I just couldn't stay sober.
Right.
They want you to stay sober for 2 weeks before, and then once you get in there, so I mean, the most degrading thing I've ever had to do is ask somebody else for their urine. It was just horrible and just embarrassing and degrading, and it was a nightmare. But once I got there, I knew I had to be there, and whoever my higher powers knew I had to be there, so that's what got me in, I think.
Right, and so I guess take me back to that point of being, what was going through your mind at that point of knowing that you wanted that help, but in order to get in, you were going to need somebody else's urine to be able to pass, to be able to get in?
Yeah, well, it was a 2-hour drive. It was a long 2-hour drive, and I traveled with a Visine bottle full of somebody else's urine in a thermos without my sister and mother knowing, since they drove me, and I was sweating. I mean, I went in there and I practiced learning how to do it without anybody seeing, with there being cameras in the bathroom, and there was not, when I turned out there was no cameras in the bathroom, and there was no one watching me. But besides the point, I put it in there, and then the counselor that was there when I took the urine sample to him, he just said the temperature's a little off, and I was like, whew, but he still let me in anyways. And now I understand why, being sober, I understand why they needed you to be sober, is because I slept through most of the beginning classes.
Right.
I was detoxing in there, so that was a struggle.
Yeah.
And it was scary. It was scary going there for the first time. It was actually horrible. I thought I was alone. I thought nobody wanted. I didn't know what I was in for. It was like I cried a lot.
Right.
But I swear to God, there's a sign on the door that said, "You must cry to fit in here."
Right.
Which it turns out tears are actually healing, and that's okay. But
yeah, and what would you say to somebody that's maybe approaching that period in their life where they're ready to get help? They're struggling with addiction.
yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is hard to be ready, and I don't even know if I was ready, to be honest. I know when my mom wanted me to be sober, and I wanted to be sober. Then the thing is that I actually 2 weeks, because they want you 2 weeks sober before you get into your treatment center. I did my last yeehaw, I did my last, I'm gonna do everything I possibly can before this 2 weeks happen, and I yeehawed a little too much and I actually died. So I remember going in for the shower and I woke up in the hospital. I had no idea. I did a drug that was in my drug that wasn't planning on doing. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but
right.
It actually ended up killing me. I wasn't doing that drug, but it was mixed in with the drug that I was doing. So And that didn't stop me from doing drugs, and that's this crazy part. Like, I didn't want to die. I had no intentions of dying. I did love my life, not like the drug part of it, but I did love living, and I knew I could be somebody for other people.
Right.
But having that feeling and knowing that I died and I'm still going to go out and do drugs was crazy to me. The addiction took over. Like, it just took over everything for me. So it's like, and I love my mom. I didn't want to hurt her, and I love my sister, my friends, my kids, and I didn't want to hurt them. But going through it all, you're just like, the drug just takes over. So you just have to know who to ask for help and where to go and the program. There's an Alcoholics Anonymous program. There's an NA program, Narcotics Anonymous, and honestly, they help you out. They are amazing people. You feel embarrassed going in for the first time, but honestly, like, once you're in those doors, they're so welcoming and so friendly, and still, like, even if I don't go to regular meetings, which I should, I know, but even if I don't get there, I notice when I'm not going there, because silly little things like. There's a gentleman in the program, and he's very wise, and he says to me, if you're going to park in a parking lot in the mall, per se, you're going to want to park in the very back because somebody else needs that. Well, he's old.
Right.
And if he's parking at the back of the parking lot, I should be parking at the back of the parking lot. So just little things like that. It's like, oh, maybe I need to go to a meeting because I'm starting to park at the front of the parking lot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just little things like that. So not only does it help you stay sober and helps you be around like-minded people, it actually helps you do like life things that are better for you.
Right.
Like parking in the back of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you take us back to when, like, you first started to use substances? Sorry.
That's okay.
When you first started to use them, what was going on in your life that led to that?
With addiction, it's crazy because addiction, you can be addicted to anything. You can be addicted to sex, shopping, anything, really. So I guess my mom's a smoker. She's been a smoker since I can remember. My dad was an alcoholic. He passed away when I was 7. And I guess I started smoking in the summer of grade 6, stealing cigarettes. And also stealing is an addiction as well. So I stole cigarettes from my mom. I was the cool kid that had all the smokes, right? So she got caught once when she left one pack there, and I stole it. So obviously you're going to get caught. But I guess that's when it started, the addiction started. But for when I got into heavy drugs, I was in an abusive relationship, and the person, without mentioning names, the person was very controlling and very manipulative, and he actually scared me. So he actually convinced one of my kids, I have 2 kids, I'm a mom of 2, now 25 and 27. He convinced him that I was this horrible person. So as soon as my son thought I was this horrible person, I actually started thinking I was a horrible person. So then that's when, like, the real heavy drugs kicked in when he didn't want to come home.
Right.
So that was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. So
So we just numbed it.
Right.
It was easier.
Yeah.
At the time.
Right. Yeah.
Right, not later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've described yourselves as, and I could see this too in you, as like being Mary Poppins on the outside. You're very bright and bubbly, but feeling like Eeyore on the inside.
That's right.
What does that feel like to go through life, by presenting
It's
that
exhausting.
way? Yeah.
It's exhausting, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't do it on purpose. I just don't like negative. I don't like hurting people. And I don't like bringing out, like, I don't want to, I'd rather talk about something positive than something negative. So I can turn any negative into a positive, maybe not for myself, but I can flip it somehow. Like, if I was to live in a cardboard box, I would say, at least I have the box.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm good at that, like changing things for other people, but I just take all my feelings, like the negative ones, I just kind of take them, bundle them up, and bury them. And a lot of the times, actually, I quite forget about them.
Right.
And until somebody brings it up, like, did you know that happened? I said, no, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I just bury them. So it's good to talk about your feelings and get them all out.
Totally. And what does it mean for you to be on the outside now, or on, not necessarily, because it's a lifetime journey.
Right.
Addiction.
There's no cure for addiction. You're always going to be an addict.
And like you said, it can be anything, right? It's not just drugs. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, right? It's a lifelong journey that you are navigating in like keeping that at bay.
Yeah.
Right.
And also you have to understand when you take away an addiction, like say drugs, you may pick up, or you probably will pick up another addiction. So it could be working, which is not good for you to work that much, which could be shopping, it could be sex, it could be anything.
Right.
So you have to keep an eye on what those things are and talk about them as well.
Right.
Because you might find some other addiction to just pick up on.
Yeah, and
So
for you, what was the most important like support? Or when was there a moment that you were like, I needed that particular thing to happen in order to get you to, where we are today?
Yeah, so I went to Westover Treatment Center. It's a 19-day chemical dependency program. And when I went there, obviously I was still stoned. So I went there, and when I first got there, I wanted, like, my girlfriend at the time to bring me drugs. Like, I wanted her to bring me someone. She was coming to visit. Like, that was my mindset. Like, you gotta bring it to me. Well, she didn't come, unfortunately, but she did that for a reason.
Yeah.
She was actively using as well and thought it was not a good idea, so that's great. But and then the week went by, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, I want to do drugs, but I don't want to hurt the staff.
Right.
So I was thinking about them, and I didn't want to hurt the staff, so that's why I kind of didn't want to. I was on the fence. If she brought it, I still probably would have done it.
Right.
But by the third week, it was like, and now I don't want to do it for me, because they teach you about what you're going through. They teach you why you're going through the things you are, and it's just, honestly, it was life-changing. I have a tattoo for Westover. It was amazing. Most of the counselors there are all addicts, so they get what you're going through. It gives you routine, it gives you structure, it gives you, for the longest time, for 2 weeks after, I was actually going back every Tuesday to play volleyball just to show the other addicts you can still have fun without drugs or alcohol. Because, I mean, when you go anywhere, there's alcohol everywhere. Like there's in the country songs, in country music, at a baby shower nowadays. Yeah. There's drugs and alcohol, or not drugs, but there's alcohol at like funerals. There's alcohol everywhere you look. Even everywhere you look, there's always alcohol. Mm-hmm. So like going back there every Tuesday, someone's like, well, why would you drive 2 hours to go play volleyball? And I said, well, I know what else I would have been doing with that money before.
Right.
This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
I love being a champ.
I am a member of the Warham's Child Amputee Program. Through CHAMP, I get the artificial limbs I need to participate in everyday activities.
I'm always growing, so I always need new devices.
Support and helpful information on living with an amputation is available to me anytime.
I get to meet other kids that are just like me.
It's your donations that make the Warham's CHAMP program possible. Thank you.
Smudging is a very important part in our life as we're all learning to walk the good way. When we smudge, we use the sacred medicine, the white sage, the sweetgrass, the tobacco, and the cedar. It cleanses negative energy and replaces it by a positive energy. When I smudge, I cleanse my end and my eagle feather and start cleansing my breath to have better words. I will smudge my eyes so I could see the better things offered to me. I will smudge my ears to hear the good thing that people have to say. I will smudge my hair to have good thinking from my head. I will bring the smudge to my feet so I could walk in respect with our Mother, the Earth. Smudging is the way we give our prayers to connect our spirit to the Creator. We express gratitude for the gift of life, the learning, and growth.
My name is Chef D. Most days, you'll find me feeding high-profile personalities in even higher-pressure kitchens. But now I'm taking an ordinary food truck and a slice of summer to get out of my comfort zone and into parts of the community normally out of my reach. It's a gamble, but if I can use my passion for food to help out some amazing folks, it'll be worth the road trip.
Rogers TV Community News looks at what impacts you in and around Waterloo Region and beyond. It focuses on stories from municipal and provincial issues. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. on Rogers TV.
I am a champ.
I am a champ. I am a champ. I am a champ.
I am a champ. A member of the Warham's Child Amputee Program, thanks to your donations.
Welcome back to KickBack. I'm so excited to have you join us. KickBack is presented by CMHA Brant Haldeman Norfolk. I'm now joined by my friend Sean. Sean, thank you so much for coming in tonight at Hudson Public Kitchen and Bar.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you coming in to share your story, your personal journey, and yeah, we can jump right in. I just wanted to touch on like the early days of your story of when it felt like maybe alcohol wasn't helping you anymore. It wasn't helping you, but it was starting to hinder you, and what that was like for you to kind of make that transition.
For sure, yeah. So I started drinking pretty young. I was around 12 or 13 when I had my first drink. And just to kind of give a quick backstory, I had alcoholics kind of like alcoholism kind of ran in the family. My dad was an alcoholic, grandparents were alcoholics. So I was kind of predisposed to, and warned probably not to go down that road. I decided, hey, I'm going to try it anyways.
Right.
So yeah, I started young. It wasn't really a hindrance when I was super young. Lots of kids were partying. It didn't seem like it was out of control. And then when I was 16, my best friend actually committed suicide. So that for me, especially at that age, I'm already into kind of partying, drinking, doing drugs. Once that happened, I could tell the difference going forward after that. It wasn't as fun. Drinking wasn't as fun. It was more of a coping mechanism. Started drinking way more, got into all sorts of other drugs like cocaine, ecstasy, MDMA, mushrooms, marijuana, any kind of narcotic, anything I can get my hands on, because I didn't grieve properly. And I think my family was there and super supportive at the time, but I think even they didn't really know how to guide a 17-year-old kid going into adulthood. Hey, like, this is how you grieve properly. So yeah, that's kind of when it started for me. It was when I started getting really heavy, really bad, and really quickly as well. Whereas my other friends would they started tapering off, going to university, starting life, and I was going down a dark path.
Right. Well, and I just feel like grief is something that's not touched on enough. Like, I feel like grief is an inevitable part of life, and I think it's something that we should be taught much earlier. Because I feel like in all of the conversations that we've had, like over the course of the last 10 years of KickBack, grief seems to be the one that consistently stands out for people, because oftentimes like grief is noticed as a loss of a loved one, but it can be so many different things, and I think it's something that's important that we talk about a lot more.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. I'm 37 years old now, and I've had some loss in the recent years. And I still don't know if I'm dealing with it properly. Right. So I look back to my 16-year-old self and go, man, he was very, very lost and just didn't have the right kind of guidance to help possibly navigate a little better than I did, right?
Right. And before becoming a dad, what was going on in your mental health that alcohol was maybe masking?
So I've been sober. I got sober in August 10th, 2015. I know the exact date because that is a pretty important date,
right. Yeah.
In my life. So I've just passed 10 years of sobriety. And the amazing thing is my boys, my family haven't seen me drink
right.
or use drugs. So I was really able to kind of clean up my act and get it together before I got into a relationship, before I started having kids, before I had other responsibilities. I can't even imagine getting into a relationship or having a kid and being in full-blown addiction. Mm-hmm. Like, I couldn't look after myself.
Right.
Like, my life was an absolute disaster. And I just can't even imagine, getting into those super important things in life, having the kid, getting married, buying a house, starting a business. I wouldn't be able to deal with any of it. So it's a pretty amazing feeling for me that I was able to kind of get it under control prior to all those things happening.
Right. And what was that moment? Was it one moment where you're like, I need to change? Or was it multiple things that kind of built up?
Yeah, so there was I had many instances where I kind of knew I shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. I just couldn't stop. I think once I got that snowball kind of rolling in addiction and you're so deep into it, you can't see out. Mm-hmm. You're in this vicious circle where it's like, okay, I'll sober up. Oh, I feel pretty good. Oh, I'm like maybe a month clean, and then I'm gonna go out and have a drink with my friends. And then 3 months later, I'm in the hospital, mm-hmm. I'm in rehab, I'm in the jail cell, I'm in detox, right. All of the above, right? And you just keep getting into this circle, and I could not, for the life of me, get out of it. So near the end of my addiction in 2015, I ended up, my health was really, really bad. So I was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, and detox, rehab. And the doctor looked at me and said, Sean, you're not going to see 28 years old. Mm-hmm. I was 27 at the time. And the crazy part is I didn't care. I said, cool, can I leave? He said, yes, you can leave. So my health was so bad, I started to get, it's called alcoholic hepatitis of the liver. It's the stage before cirrhosis. I just didn't care. I had no purpose. I just wanted to be done. That's how deep it got, which is not like me. I'm a super positive guy. I love life. Like I love laughing. I love having a good time. But I was so done with it because I was like, I can't get out of this this circle. It's just I can't get out of it. I'm trapped. I'm trapped. Right. So for me, I had I don't want to say supernatural. I had a supernatural moment. I got invited to a church in town here. I'll say the name, Freedom House. Yeah. I'm sure you know the guys at Freedom House. Yeah. I got invited out there, and at first I kind of just laughed. Like I balked and laughed. I was like, oh, church, oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Like I'm gonna go in flames if I go in there. And then I wasn't gonna go, and I ended up going. And I remember sitting in the service, I went to the back, and I got connected with a friend from there who went through a similar thing in his life. And he's like, just sit at the back, enjoy the music. And I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. And as soon as the worship music came on, I lost my mind. Like I just started crying. I cried the entire service. And then my buddy took me aside after the service and just said, hey, how was that? And I was like, well, I just cried, so I don't know what that means, but I was just crying the whole time. He's like, that's the Holy Spirit working in me. And I was like, okay, sure, I don't know what that means. But he took me aside, he prayed for me. I remember leaving that day. I was actually just down Market Street here when Freedom House was there. And I walked out of there, and I still tell the story to this day because I walked out and I looked at the trees. The trees looked really, really green. The sky looked really, really blue. Everything just looked more vibrant and like alive. And I just walked away. I was like, I'm not sure what happened there. But I feel like there's a chance. I stumbled a few times. It was only a couple months. I stumbled a couple more times, and then I ended up, getting sober August 10th of 2015, and I got baptized later that week. And I lived in the shelter downtown, moved there for 6 months. They helped me kind of get out on my own, and then I just took off from there.
Right, and I think a lot of people don't realize is that this is a lifelong journey for you. It doesn't just stop. Right, it's something that you continually work at and navigate.
100%. Yeah, it's. I do feel like I'm at a point now where I'm not bothered if there was like an alcoholic beverage here or someone who's doing drugs.
The Quintessence Coalition brings you immersive experiences and conscious collaborations from artists across the country. Don't miss the sights, sounds, and spirits of the Quintessence Coalition. Saturdays at 8:30 p.m.
I'm sure right now a lot of you feel like you aren't able to be who you truly are.
What's most important, more important than everybody else knowing who you are, is that you know who you are.
As a young person, time moves slower for you. And just know that things will get better.
It Gets Better Canada is a registered Canadian charity with a focus on uplifting our queer youth through the power of digital storytelling.
As a Two-Spirit person, I use they, them pronouns, but that's not the case for every Two-Spirit person.
There are so many voices out there that we didn't have 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
No matter what your mind tells you, you really are perfect the way you are, so stop beating yourself up so much.
I'm gonna be a boy in a dress, because why not?
Your identity is explosive.
We all have our unique journeys, but one thing that connects us all is the desire to be happy, the desire to celebrate being our authentic selves.
My name is Aaron from Monster Heat on YouTube, and if you love extreme challenges like I do, you'll get to witness some of this. See, over here at Monster Heat, we do it all, and you can watch it all on Rogers TV.
Long way from Nashville, and mama, I tell you that. Performed from Montreal to Boston to Los Angeles. But Toronto, that's my chosen home. Sure, when I'm walking down Yonge Street, I see some funny people who have the nerve to point the finger at me. And grin and smile and whisper. My song was #2 on local radio. Sold 10,000 in Toronto alone. Turned down Ed Sullivan because they asked me to remove my makeup. Wouldn't do American Bandstand because of their segregation policies. I was just being me. Never tried to explain myself to anyone. And besides, None of that to worry, Jackie, because I know I look good. Got a new way of loving, baby. Thought I want to teach it to you.
Jackie Shane was a pioneer transgender soul singer, a central figure in the Toronto R&B scene. She helped shape what we know as the Toronto sound.
Think it's okay to drive high? Think again. Drug-impaired driving is as illegal as drunk driving, and in Ontario, the penalties are the same. If police suspect you're driving under the influence of drugs of any kind, or a combination of drugs and alcohol, and you fail a roadside test, your license will be suspended immediately for up to 30 days. You'll pay a penalty of $198. And you can be charged with a criminal offense of impaired driving, the same as alcohol. Driving high is never okay.
Welcome back to KickBack. I am so excited to be here at Altitude Coffee Roasters with Todd. Todd, thank you again for joining us today.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down.
And so we're looking at your professional career and maybe how it's changed over the time from being in the inpatient mental health care to leading primary and community care here at the Grand River Community Health Center here in town on Colburn Street in Brantford. Can you just talk a little bit about the changes that you've seen over the course of your career?
Yeah, happy to do that. So I've been working in Brantford and Brant counties now for about 8 years. Previously, I was in the kind of the Waterloo region for the most part, and I was at BCHS in town and was the manager of the inpatient mental health unit for about 4 years, and so pre-COVID into COVID, and then now what we're calling post-COVID, even though there's still all the fun things that we're dealing with. Yeah. But the one thing I've noticed in town a lot is that our patients and clients and the people accessing our services are continually more informed about what's going on, what type of help that they want, and they're coming with higher expectations, which is great. They're also coming with more complexity, and we hear that in physical health, but in mental health, it's very much the same as well. There's a lot of individuals who come with many things going on at the same time, all interrelated and all really challenging.
What do you think that is that's creating that more complex situation? I mean, it's interesting. I think that there's so much more like awareness and knowledge out there to be able to kind of navigate that and maybe self-diagnose a little bit about what they're experiencing and the shifts out there. But what do you think is attributing to those more complex issues? Like, it's interesting to me. Like, there's more complex issues, but they're also very aware of their like the options that they have.
Yeah, I think the core of it is that, like, societally we've shifted a lot. We actually talk about this. Right. We actually talk about mental health. Mm-hmm. This is a wonderful example of that. Right. Different strategies that have happened, and the fact that it's part of our regular language all the time. So I think some of it is just a lot of people that would never have tried to get help in the past are looking for it. So that's great. So there's a volume aspect to it. But then our ongoing opiate epidemic in Canada and Ontario and very much so in Brantford is extraordinary, and it's really challenging. And just the stress in life is more. Everything costs more. That leads to stress. Housing is much more challenging. That leads to issues. And even if you are very fortunate and have, a very supportive family and a great house and job and spare money on the side, doesn't mean that everything's going great for you. And you start to erode those other things, it just gets more and more and more challenging as time goes on. So it's kind of a big picture problem that is showing up in everyday life for people.
Yeah. Just really, the problems really snowball, and I think that people don't understand how close maybe a lot of people are to becoming homeless or to navigating those issues that they see that think they can't be affected by, but it's just kind of a few bad lucky breaks, and all of a sudden somebody may be without a home or might have a mental health episode or something along those lines.
Yeah, like in the mental health world, there's stuff that's more on the situational end sometimes, where it's a compiling of different, more one-off type things that have all piled up. But then there's also that kind of chronic thing where you have depression and or like a psychotic disorder or bipolar disorders or all of those different things that are really challenging. And they all interplay, right? Like if it's very hard for you to get up and get moving in a day, it's also going to be hard for you to necessarily maintain employment. And if you can't maintain employment, then you have food and housing insecurity. And then all of a sudden now you're in a situational crisis, and it's this awful tornado of bad stuff, and it gets really overwhelming, and it's really understandable why it's overwhelming. And a lot of people in Brantford are a lot closer to that razor's edge than they've been in a really long time. So it's hard.
Can you share about what the RAM clinic is?
Yeah, so we have had a rapid access addiction medicine clinic in Brantford now for 6 or 7 years, maybe even more than that. And we've recently made some changes and relocated. So we're at 12 Market Street now. And we work in really close partnership with SOAR Community Services, CMHA in town, as well as Dedewato Designated Aboriginal Health Center to deliver care for those seeking help with addiction and who require medications to do that. So we have physicians and nurse practitioners who prescribe medications to try and support people with their cravings and with reducing their usage. And we do wraparound services. So we have counseling, peer support workers, addiction workers, people to support with housing in terms of getting you to the right places to find things, or trying to just make the night better and then catching up with you again the next day. So we are 12 Market Street, right in the pedestrian walkway, kind of behind Scotiabank. And we've been there now for since June, and up and running, and really enjoy trying to offer non-judgmental support. When people come in, we just want them to feel like there's a place that's willing to help them. Right. There's a lot around the area, but we really strive to make sure that that we're there.
Right, and I think that it's important, you mentioned off camera, the importance of being able to act fast.
Yep.
And being able to get fast and kind of strike when the iron's hot. Can you just share a little bit about what that means to an individual that maybe has approached that space and is like, okay, I need help.
Yeah.
Something's got to give. I need to change.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah. So as a recovering addict in recovery myself, it was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life to actually ask for help. It took me years to get those words out of my mouth. And if the response that I had gotten at the time I asked for help was like, yeah, come back next week, I don't know whether I'd be in the spot that I am now. So we really want to be able to offer meaningful, impactful help at the moment that people are ready for it, because it's not a straight line. So bit of a curlicue. You might be ready, and then things may happen, and then you might not be ready. So when people ask for help, we really pride ourselves on being able to try and say yes. We may not be able to offer everything in that moment, but we try and offer everything that we can. And we put as few barriers in place as we possibly can. And I'm more of the administrator and one of the administrators that are involved, and I can say the staff there, doctors, nurse practitioners, peer workers, they keep me in line. Whenever anything comes up where they're like, hey, that's a little bit of a barrier, we don't want to do that. Their focus is really wonderful that way, to be able to help as fast as they can.
Right. And in general, for individuals that are struggling, what are the barriers that you see in our community?
Yeah. Access to help in a quick way, being able to kind of pull yourself away from your environment that might be contributing to ongoing substance use. So precarious housing, some of those types of things is really challenging. So doing work and going to a detox center and really putting in some hard hours.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm so happy to have these prosthetic legs. I wear them every day so I can do all the things I love to do. I like to hike, skate, and do gymnastics. Because of your donations, WAMPS is able to give me these devices. When you donate, you help kids like me. Thank you.
Rogers TV Community News looks at what impacts you in and around Waterloo Region and beyond. It focuses on stories from municipal and provincial issues. Wednesdays at 5 p.m. on Rogers TV.
We were born in Canada. We spoke English. On the streets, we weren't welcome. But on the field, we were the Asahi. Vancouver's champions. Everyone cheered for us. Our people had a voice. Then Canada declared war on Japan. They took us from our homes, called us enemies, forced us into camps. But we brought the game with us. Baseball helped get us through the internment.
The Vancouver Asahi were among the 22,000 Japanese Canadians interned during the Second World War. The team never played another game.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Have you ever thought about just how much politics you speak about just in your own kitchen or in your living room? Or how many important ideas are shared or solutions to some of the world's biggest problems? Well, you're in luck, because I'm inviting some of my friends to come and speak to me about everyday politics, and I'm bringing my living room to you. So join me on Wednesday evenings from 6 until 7 for Everyday Politics with Laura May Lindo.
For 25 years, you've been helping to make our roads safer by doing the right thing. You've been the designated driver, you've stayed over, called home, you've called a cab or a friend, and planned ahead. Let's keep doing the right thing. Support sober driving by getting yourself and your friends home safely.
Do the right thing.
Visit ArriveAlive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
Welcome back to KickBack. My name is Ben, and KickBack is presented by CMHA Brant Haldeman Norfolk, and I'm now joined by my friend Woody. Woody, how are you?
Not bad. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing well, thank you. So going back to last year, it was your first time with KickBack, sharing your story with addiction, and it was fairly fresh for you at that point.
Yes, it was. Since then, a lot's happened. Shortly after we had met there, we have something that they call in the program the mental blank spot, and I was confronted with the mental blank spot, and I actually slipped up and went back out briefly. Very, very brief. I was back the next day into the program, but and then here I am, almost a year clean again.
Right. Well, congratulations for that. And I remember you reaching out because we had done. There had been an article that had went out at that time, and I remember sharing it with you, and you had said to me that you had that slip up at that time, and I just remember feeling so just your ability to be able to speak to what you were navigating and what you were feeling, it was incredible to just even in that short engagement to be able to for you to be able to say that this is what I did, but now I'm back and working on it again.
It's definitely a learning experience. I think I learned more in that day than I did in the 9 months prior to that I had been clean, and learned a lot about myself and how much of a grip the disease has. It's I'd been prepared for having cravings and having to how I could deal with having to make a call and then going to pick up, but I hadn't had it where it was just right in my face, and I didn't even have a thought.
Right.
It was happened so quick. That's the grip this disease has on people, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I've definitely safeguarded myself in a lot of ways. I learned, like I said, I learned a lot from that, and was able to, you know, everything happens for a reason, I believe, and that put me in line with the people that I'm working with now. You know, it put me in line with a new sponsor, switched me over from one program to another, and I just kind of found my way, and things started taking off once I switched programs, switched sponsors, and you know, really had a hard look at myself to realize that how defenseless I am against that first drink or drug.
Right, and how important was that for you to find that community in your journey?
I think it was very important, excuse me, because I just felt like I was kind of, when we had spoke last, you know, I was still doing well in my program, but I felt like I was kind of, I hit an idle spot. And then this was, that relapse really made me look at my life as a whole. You know, I was still in the shelter system then, and I think I got too comfortable there. I was just, you know, it's a constant chaos there, and I think that's one thing that when you leave addiction, you know, you can get addicted to that life of chaos, you know. Right. And I think I stayed way longer in the shelter system than I really needed to because I got comfortable, and ultimately that was, you know, part of my demise.
Right, and so in what you're sharing, I hear a lot of self-reflection that happened, a lot of work involved with you being able to show up today and say that you are approaching 1 year of sobriety. Can you just speak to the amount of work that's involved in your day-to-day?
The last 350 days has been a lot of work on myself, you know, with my addiction and just working on myself and, you know, kind of getting to learning myself, you know, really figuring out who I was, because for so many years I was living with the masks, right? And just learning to be my genuine self and, you know, being comfortable in my own skin again, right? It's, that first 9 months or so was a very uncomfortable time. There were so many changes in my life. It wasn't a bad uncomfortable, it was just very foreign to me, right? But yeah, it was, you know, I'm very, this one, it opened up my eyes to the spirituality part of it, and, you know, taking care of my spirit and so I can take care of my body, and you know, it all starts with spirituality for me. You know, everything starts with God, and that's my first thing in the morning. You know, as I'm hitting my knees, saying my prayer, and then getting ready to do what I got to do. I'm part of a morning meditation meeting now, and I help run the meeting a couple days a week. And I found that meditation, you know, I was always doing these self-reflections at night, and I was praying to have these defects removed and have God make me a better person, but I wasn't doing the meditating to listen for the answers. And, you know, the meditation's really opened up my mind, and it's just been a really beneficial part of my life now.
Right, and I think it's really cool that through that work, and you talk about how you're leading these meetings, and before we started this interview, you shared that you have done numerous speaking engagements. So it's really cool to see you take that leadership role with your community and be able to give back.
Definitely. The Cocaine Anonymous is an amazing community, and the online community, it just brings the world together, you know? Like, I have friends all over the world that I talk to regularly, from Ireland or, you know, LA or Denver, and I'm, you know, everybody networks with everybody. So, you know, I spoke Saturday morning, I spoke in a meeting that's based out of Ireland on Zoom. And then a couple weeks ago, it was in the Denver meeting. And, you know, it's just, it's really nice to meet all these people from all around the world and just bond over the common solution.
Right. And I mean, can you speak to just how important it is to have those people?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's people who can do this, you know, recover alone, but more power to you. You know, it's not a disease that you can fight alone.
Right.
It's the more people you have in your corner, the better you are, right? Because those people, and a lot of those people, they see me struggling before I see it, and they'll point it out. You know, a lot of people in my life will call me on my bullshit and say, "Hey, man, like, you're slipping, pull up." And I appreciate that, and I do the same for them, right? I'm also, now that I've been through the 12 steps, I'm also working with another individual now, taking him through the 12 steps.
Cool.
And, it's definitely a learning experience. Definitely say it's a lesson in patience and tolerance, that's for sure. But you know, it's good to see this guy from where he was 60 days ago to where he is now. It's just amazing to watch him grow, and, you know, kind of try and guide him in the right direction. some things work, some things don't, you know.
Right.
And, all I can do is I can tell him what worked for me and suggest that maybe he tries this, or you know, or what I've heard worked for other people. You know, I can't tell him what to do because I don't know what's going to work for him. And what works for him might not work for the next guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely a learning experience.
Definitely. And what in all of this, in taking this leadership role on, through all of the self-reflection, what has surprised you most about maybe yourself and then also the people around you?
There's a saying in the book, I think it goes something like there's a bit of good in the worst of us and a bit of bad in the best of us. And you know, I've learned that because I think I see people in the program and I think I've put them on a pedestal, and I've been let down by a lot of people, right? Not necessarily a lot, but it does happen, you know. I think it's more in me putting them on a pedestal. Because at the end of the day, we're all addicts, right? You know, anybody. You know, we all come into these rooms with the same condition, and you know, we're all the same. You know, we're all one bad decision from going right back to where we were, right? So there's a lot of equality, and you know, not too many people put themselves above you, or, you know, they don't have that feeling of being less than.
Right. And how about surprising yourself?
Just some of the things I've started now, you know, I'm getting some mental clarity. And
after a night out with your friends, not having a plan for a safe ride home can leave you in a bad spot. You could end up riding in a police car, an ambulance, or a hearse. These unplanned modes of transportation can be a costly choice and do not take you home. Your plan could include a designated driver, a taxi, or public transit. Drink responsibly, choose your ride, and have a plan for a safe ride home.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
The husband has legal title to the farm properties. I see no reason to entertain the wife's appeal any further.
If I may, I find there are, in fact, many reasons, both legal and moral.
For our neighbors, Bora. We should always do what we can. It's our responsibility.
Bora, your desire to ignore the legal precedent is preventing us from moving forward in this.
Moving forward is precisely what I believe we must do.
Bora Laskin says he was among the top of his class at Harvard Law. He's a Jew. But he's not one of those flashy Jews.
No, we have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people today, men and women. The law is not a fixed thing. It should change with the times to reflect our changing values. There is no just reason to treat the wife's contribution to the farm as any less significant than the husband's.
Bora Laskin, the first Jewish Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada, fought for fairness and civil rights for all Canadians.
My name is Aaron from Monster Heat on YouTube, and if you love extreme challenges like I do, you'll get to witness some of this. See, over here at Monster Heat, we do it all, and you can watch it all on Rogers TV.
Here are 3 reasons why your social strategies should include Rogers TV. Reason number 1 is we have hyper-local audiences. The community TV channel gives you a chance to engage with people where you live, so you really get to know your neighbors and they get to know you. Reason number 2 is we can help diversify your distribution. With social media, it's really important to be able to have a wider audience, and Rogers TV can actually help complement your online presence by delivering to a different audience. And it's actually really easy to repurpose your existing content or to just create new material specifically tailored for community TV. And finally, reason number 3 is we can help enhance your credibility and your trust. And by aligning your brand with Rogers TV, you can tap into that trust that viewers have. This can boost your reputation, especially among viewers who favor local businesses and value community involvement. 1, 2, 3. It's that easy to build your local audience with Rogers TV.
Well, welcome back to KickBack. My name is Ben Strasser, and KickBack is presented by CMHA, Brant, Haldeman, Norfolk, and I'm now joined by my friend Ryan. Ryan, thank you so much for joining me here at Up Yoga and Wellness.
Thanks for having me.
Ryan, you have been with us on this KickBack journey since the very beginning when we were live on Rogers and we were fresh-faced, and it was a 12-hour marathon, and it was kind of get in, share your story, what you're navigating in life and how you're showing up, and then how that's changed over the last bunch of years. And I just remember you, at that point, I remember you were shooting videos in your car.
Yeah. So at that point in my experience, so this all started with my own recovery, right? My own experience with mental health. And so essentially I ended up working professionally in the field, ended up working in addictions and mental health where I still live today. But at some point there was this, this passion, this desire to share what my experience actually was. And that kind of all came from, the struggle that I went through, especially those last few years of my addiction and my mental health. And so one of the biggest skills, or one of the biggest things that really served me in my life, was transparency and vulnerability, right? This idea of almost shifting what it means to be strong, like what it means to be cool, what it means to be a good person. And that was really crucial for me, was just sharing that. And the funny thing is, and how I ended up in the field was, it was almost like people just come out of the woodwork, just dying to share their experience and share their story with someone who's willing to listen.
Right, and what was the reason that you shot that first video in the car?
Oh man, it was just like a spontaneous experience in the moment, right? And the reaction that I got from everybody, I think that was before. It's such a common thing now where so many people are, sharing their experience, coaching, supporting people personally through their own lived experience. And it was just something I wanted to connect with people on and really let people know, like, hey, this is what I go through. This is how I live my life today. I was probably, if that was like 7-8 years ago, so I'll be 16 years sober on the 14th of this month. So I want to say that was almost like 6 or 7 years into my recovery. And so I was already living that, right? I was already living this on a regular basis where I worked in the field professionally. The people that I interacted with, very genuine interactions. And I just wanted to push past the this idea of everybody needs to have it together all the time and we're all good, and the presentation of social media, and share something real. And it, luckily it had an impact. Some of those videos and certainly got me doing a lot of different things like this, right? And running a business on the side there for a while. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, and I think that what you were able to do by shooting those videos and being vulnerable is you were able to, you gave permission to the others that were struggling and navigating similar things that you, and maybe not even just the sobriety piece, but just mental health in general, right? And I know that you had constant people messaging you and reaching out to you for help.
Yeah, so my experience when I was younger, I had a great childhood growing up, awesome life, played a lot of hockey, sports, skateboarding, things like that, had a lot of friends, was quite comfortable with who I was, my education, all that kind of stuff. And when I was 14, 15, really got into substance use, right? I started drinking, using drugs, having a lot of fun, which had a huge impact on my mental health. Started to experience really, really bad anxiety and panic attacks. And I kept that to myself because there was this constant need and desire to fit in and be cool, have a girlfriend, have money, have nice clothes, all that kind of stuff. So it was like this constant performance and stress and pressure. And I didn't have the avenue to share that, or at least I didn't think it was okay and cool to do that. Funny enough, I went and saw doctors, things like that, but a lot of times nowadays what I get, right? Right after this, I have a gentleman who's gonna call me. I don't know what he's going through, but people will see me, people will hear me share things, or they'll get this experience through word of mouth that it's here's just another human you can talk to about whether that's your mental health, your substance use. The funny thing is I could talk to anybody, right? I could sit with any human and say, what do you want? And really define that, and then, okay, well, what is your experience right now? And you come to find that everybody experiences these things. So it's created the opportunity for someone to be able to pick up a phone or grab a coffee and just say, hey, my name's Ben, this is what I'm going through. I saw some of your videos, and a lot of times that's just the start of it. I think when you demystify, or maybe that's not the right word, if you deconstruct this idea that there's something wrong with you because you have a mental health issue, right? And that can mean many, many different things in 2026. Almost said 2025. That can mean many, many different things. But if we deconstruct this idea that it's a problem for me to have a panic disorder or anxiety or whatever, then now when I'm experiencing the anxiety, it doesn't have to be this altering experience, right? Where I feel anxiety, I feel panic, whatever, but I have tools to be able to sit with that, be okay with that, and I'm never getting to the point where it feels like I'm out of control or hopeless in that sense. And I think that really starts with just talking, right? Like just saying, hey, I'm Ryan, I have anxiety, really bad panic attacks. I'm consumed with what you think of me, which is crazy, and suggests that you're thinking of me as often as I would like, and it just kind of broke some of those barriers down for people to say, even with substance use, so I drink or I use drugs, but this is why, right? You take that away, and the problem is what I experience underneath.
Really removing the shame involved with it.
Yeah, and the great thing about being vulnerable, Ben, is everybody, like I said, people are dying to tell me things. You go see, let's say I go and see someone's son, right? Maybe, I see an adult, 18, 19-year-old son, and I talk to him, support him with whatever. The parents, after even being a part of that conversation or witnessing a conversation, potentially say, hey, can I ask you a couple questions? Right? Like when I do family sessions and things like that. Point being is if you can get rid of this idea that, you have something with a mental health issue or an addiction, or, who doesn't have an addiction, right? Shopping, approval, complaining, stress, cell phones. When you can just kind of remove the label of okay, you're bad, mental health, addiction, whatever, and just say, oh, okay, you experience depression, or you experience, some mania, or whatever your experiences may be. I think it gives people the opportunity to just drop the walls and accept themselves a little bit more. I think it's really important.
Right, and I just feel, I know for me personally, since becoming a dad, I dealt with a lot of grief in the loss of the relationship that I had with my wife before Theo came into the world, and then when all of that, and that really shifted me. And then once I had a friend reach out and say, hey, this is something that I struggle with, I was like, no way, that's once I had a name for it, the grief piece, I was able to then start to operate in a different way. But all that to be said was the moment that I started sharing and being vulnerable with what I was struggling with and navigating through that, what should be a super positive, great time, it was all the relationships around me really deepened.
Absolutely.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Hey everyone, it's Sean Ferfaro, and I'm thrilled to tell you that This Week in Rangers Nation is back for season number 2. I'll have everything you want with your East Ave Blue, special interviews, features, highlights, and more. Catch This Week in Rangers Nation every Friday.
We were born in Canada. We spoke English. On the streets, we weren't welcome. But on the field, we were the Asahi. Vancouver's champions. Everyone cheered for us. Our people had a voice. Then Canada declared war on Japan. They took us from our homes. call us enemies, forced us into camps.